or what brought you here? Just let us know on the chat or Q&A. So this is a webinar. It's different than normal Zoom meetings. So we have a few other options down there. Do you guys all see the Q&A? And you can type your question down there. And if you want to let us know where you're coming from, and actually you can click your name at the participants, and you can rename yourself and the more. So while like how I did it, like Songyi and Slash and Impact Collective, that's one way that you can show us where you're coming from. And we have some people from our team, some people are from Korea, some are from Vietnam, a different name. So please let us know where you come from actually on the chat and what's your interest, why you are here. Yeah, Anthony just shared with us why he's here. Oh, welcome. From New Zealand. So you and I are in the same time zone.
Right, there you go. Co-founder, citypreneurs himself. Yeah, thank you, Songyi, for the intro. And today, we just want to deep dive. A lot of you have seen the website. A lot of you are curious. That's why you're here. And we are here to not just answer all your questions, but also put a face to the names. The programs and accelerator are a labor of love. We are not some anonymous software dishing out money and great advice, but we are actually a team of passionate entrepreneurs that, for the past decade, a lot of us has been building co-working spaces and blockchain projects and startups, and many nonprofit initiatives. So I'll start off with a very short introduction. My name is Aim, the ASEAN, or what you call Southeast Asian Director of Impact Collective. And the idea is we feel that Asia as a whole is super exciting. And Southeast Asia is many, many different countries with different cultures and quirks. And the challenge is how do we navigate and land well. So for a lot of ventures that are coming from outside of Southeast Asia, I will be the go-to person to connect not just the startups and impact makers, but also the investors, the partners. So a lot of the organizations that are working to support us at Impact Collective are from there. I'm a recovering co-working and an events guy whose job and career has been derailed by COVID, but has found a new lease of life and new energy working on this project remotely. So claim to fame is a organizer of a conference for 20,000 people in the first co-working space in Thailand. And that's how I met Songyi, who happened to walk into my co-working space 7 years ago and told me about Impact Collective late last year. So to you, Songyi. And I think you're muted.
Yeah, I'll hand over to Joe first.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Ask Me Anything session. It's really great to connect with you. Hopefully, we will be able to collaborate on a long-term basis, get to know each other through sessions like these. Hopefully, we'll have more in the future. Thank you, Aim, for getting us started, and Songyi also for organizing everything. I want to start the conversation just by saying that we call ourselves the Impact Collective, and I'm a firm believer that impact is no longer just an additional bonus to your business, nor is it something that you just have inside of your souls. Just I want to do good, and I know I want to do good. But my business is something different. It's something that I earn money, but in the future I will do something good. We strongly believe that impact is the source of bringing value, and through the collective, something that I really want to work with each of the teams is how do we align all of our efforts so that it brings impact in itself? How can our businesses, make the impact that we always wanted it to make? And so that's the type of conversations I want to engage in with, the potential participants, and also our wider network that has been created, and also this collective that is bringing in a number of wide networks into a movement. And so looking really forward to working with each and every one of you guys again. And just to give you a very, very brief history, we started something called Citypreneurs with a number of passionate people again, and we luckily we found them in multiple organizations, and that happened to be a conglomerate of maybe about 6 organizations that co-hosted Citypreneurs since 2017. We've been running this for 4 years, and every cohort had about 30 teams, and now we're a 90 startup strong network. But we also, definitely have more than about 30, 40 investors that work with us on a consistent basis, and also maybe about 3 UN organizations, as well as 1 or 2 city networks. They're a network of mayors and city officials. And so, we try to bring the public sector together with the efforts of entrepreneurs like you guys. The reason being is that, they're on, our constant question is, how do we get the public sector to be backing what you do, instead of kind of being in the way? And so, so that's also something, that we consistently do. We collectively put together the voice of entrepreneurs, and we translate that into workable policies, and we work with the UN so that it gets distributed and talked about with the right people in the right countries. And so that's the type of work that Citypreneurs has been doing, and very happy to join Impact Collective this year, starting together our Asia Pacific program. And also, Citypreneurs is, part of this movement and program. And so, would love to, if you have any specific questions about Citypreneurs, I'd be happy to answer, but also anything that has to do with Impact Collective, I'd be happy to share. So Songyi.
Thank you. So my name is Songyi. I'm currently a Corona refugee based in New Zealand. I just can't go home, which is Korea. So I'm born and raised in Korea, lucky enough to have an amazing opportunity to explore different sector, especially in social impact and then blockchain, and then a startup industry, and then ecosystem. And since I was actually a social worker back in the history, working for World Vision Korea, and then one of the work that I was sent to West Africa, Mali. And there I found the problem that I want to solve it. And me and my partner, we put our brains and hands together to build a Bitcoin SMS wallet. And that was 2013 and 14, very new in the blockchain industry. And then ever since that, I was tech entrepreneurs, and then also a startup community builder and ecosystem builder. And that's how I met all these amazing humans that is right now on our website. And also you will get to meet them when you are joining the Impact Collective community. Impact Collective is an initiative that we started with the TheVentures and Citypreneurs. And TheVentures has been doing a lot of good investment in the Korean startup ecosystem for the last 5 to 7 years. And our 2 founders, Chang Sang and Jiwon, they sold their company, very first company, Viki, $200 million to Rakuten. And with that money, they did not just sit, and they actually came back to Korea from Silicon Valley and Singapore and tried to introduce the like a Silicon Valley style of the investment to Korea. And ever since, they've been investing in 50 plus companies and doing great job. And some of that happen to be social enterprise and or startups that has an impact angle. And the two founders and the teams and other founders, which are all entrepreneur, we are willing to explore what's actually the future, you know. And then as Joe mentioned, the future, there's no future without sustainability and a regeneration culture and a regenerative way of living and a building company. So we decided to do this impact collective, as he says, like a collective way. And we are just not doing, oh, this is us and this is how we do, but we are inviting everyone's together into one table, and also not just investors or people that we know, but also including you and everyone who's interested in building ecosystem bigger and more healthier. So that's why we call it, this is like a collective and intelligence and a crowd wisdom that we are creating together to choose which kind of company or which kind of business are there for the future, and then which one we want to support and then continuing supporting it. So that's how actually the Impact Collective has started. And yeah, from the beginning on, the two founders and other founders and the other partners and AIM and Citypreneur team, we are just working as one team, although we're coming from different organizations. And we were building this since last year. Actually, we just had a conversation a year ago with me and Changsang and Jiwana and Uni, and then we just started working really actively since this January. So it has been more than a half year. We built this together, and as we speak, and actually this is keep evolving, and it's an experiment that requires a collective effort, not just few organizations. So welcome everybody to this journey, and we are happy to have you on board, either as an entrepreneur and impact maker, or as a partner, or as a co-investor, or an expert, or just community judge or community member. So there is so many way of joining and participating this process. It's not just the investment project. It's basically a community building process that we are doing together. Yeah, and that's actually big intro of me and quick background story about Impact Collective. And I think now we can introduce what actually Impact Collective is with our website. I will hand over to AIM to do that. He's a master of explanation and teaching.
Well, I would say that, I mean, a lot of folks must have seen this already, but just in case you are not familiar or you want us to reaffirm, there is definitely part of the rainbow. We are both in a program, an accelerator, and a fund. And we're not just looking to invest, but also allow the companies that we work with find pilot project opportunities, both through our Asia network and also the regional anchors, the boots on the ground, the folks that are really going to help drive you to clients and customers and governments and other allies in Bangkok, Singapore, Vietnam, and in Seoul, but obviously covering the whole region. So I think throwing quickly to Joe, obviously there's some opportunities to pilot and go tap into the Citypreneurs network. So I think a lot of people might not know about that yet, but it is one of the exciting reasons, I think, that folks should be on board with the program. Could you tell us a little bit more about how your global and city reach spans so far and wide, and what's in store for some of the participants?
Yeah, I'll be happy to. Thanks, AIM. So Citypreneurs has been built, the network has been built around building a space where partnerships can happen. The public sector is a very complex machine that, you know, doesn't always work in linear ways. And so, you know, when you approach institutions, it's different when you talk to one person and then you talk to the other person, they'll tell you something else. And the understanding of the public sector is crucial for us to connect startups with the right type of projects and the right type of work they could do together. But it is getting even more truer today. I think President Moon Jae-in of Korea just announced a huge plan to go green, right, in Korea for the next 5 years, and there's going to be a amazing amount of money put into Korea. And this is not just Korea. This is actually a global trend, and it will continue to be so as long as there are issues like pollution, issues like you know, land degradation, water issues. These are all things that are harmful to human beings. And so as long as we have to mitigate against that, there will be public sector opportunities for startups like ours that actually create positive impact to benefit from partnerships with the public sector. So Citypreneurs has been, you know, working to build this network as kind of a highway for good startups with big potential to be able to connect to the right people who are experimental. Even within the public sector, we need to find champions. And this is a very important insight for us. There are people in the public sector that want to make things happen, and then there are those who will sort of resist change as it comes. And so, you know, for us, our strategy has been to identify those who are willing to make this, take the steps to create change. And those are the partners that we have inside of the Citypreneurs Network. And as we build this network, it just gets bigger and bigger. We're launching soon, hopefully very soon, we'll be launching our Africa program as well. And we'll find ways to, you know, create meaningful exchanges and scaling opportunities between teams in Africa and also in teams in Asia as well. Right now, we work with, just one example is a co-host called WeGo. Some of you guys know WeGo, but they used to be the World E-Government Organization. Now they are the World Smart Sustainable Cities Organization. And they, every time I talk to them, their membership grows. And so the last time I talked to them, they were at about 180 members, and about 140 of them are mayors. And so what they do is they choose teams together with us, and the teams that are chosen are introduced to mayors in a very direct manner. And so we do some, you know, picking and choosing. We do a little bit of, I guess, you know, back-end reviewing, so that we want to make sure that the priorities of the city matches that of the theme, that the actual solution that your startup can provide. But it comes with the acknowledgement that our fund and also our network has verified that your solution is something worth reviewing. And so thus the direct introduction and the direct connection. With a little bit more programming, we also work to set up some of the pilot programs that you can do with cities. And when you do pilot programs, depending on the funding situation, we could also walk through the process with you in setting up some of these evaluation criteria so that everybody walks, you know, home happy. It's different every time, but at the same time, you know, what I wanted to make sure you all understood is that we operate as a network, and within this network, we want to offer as much value for the startup, so that, let's say that you want to launch into Jakarta and you have a transport type of innovation solution, we could get you connected to the right people. And that we, starting from the beginning, we have 6 themes right now, and these themes are based on some of the city priorities that these cities have been setting up. And so if they are in the priorities, they are in our themes. And that means that some of the cities that want to solve these problems, such as Jakarta, would look at your team and go, hey, what are some of the agencies within the city of Jakarta that wants to try out different solutions? And so that's the type of connection that we want to make. And the next steps after being chosen can be, and this is not 100% because there's always variables in this picture all the time, but we will make the connection to the right person, at least the best person that we could find in the city of Jakarta, and we work from there. And so again, we operate as a network, and this network hopefully could get bigger and more valuable as more valuable solution providers like you guys join.
Awesome. So I think to add on what Joe said, yes, we have 6 main themes that if you literally Google the word smart cities, these are really the pillars that every city is looking out for. And that said, we are basing a lot of our impact assessment and how we frame impact based on the Sustainable Development Goals. So we are open to all 17 SDGs. That said, these are the focus themes that we think that we will be able to help the most and be able to support to scale very fast. But do send your project to us anyway. And obviously, we've got a lot of tips and interesting news. There's only so very little time left to apply. So a lot of people have been asking us, would we extend the application? So far, we're already getting a massive amount of interest, but we still want more. We want to uncover every amazing entrepreneur and impact company that we haven't heard of or that are kind of under the radar. So we've got time now from literally while you're watching us go live, you could start filling your applications until August 20th. And we will commit to getting back to very early of September. And we will start the process, the program, all the way till December. And we're going to be looking right before holidays to add 10 to 20 startups that we feel from 100 that will be participating in this fully virtual acceleration program. And then we hope that we will be investing in 10 to 20.
Yeah, and then also the reason why we ask you to apply right now, I don't know if you read our website carefully, but this is like a community-driven evaluation process built in. So it's not like just few of us sit down and decide, okay, this team is in or this team is out. Actually, we need a time that our judge and expert and the community people to upvote it and also give us a nomination note. So as soon as you apply, and there is right now it's like a very little community members on the platform, so you have a higher chance to get in. But later, in 2 or a week even, there will be a very competitive process of getting into the badge, because there will be more people evaluating your project. So this is a little tip that if you apply early enough, then a higher chance to get in. And I don't know how many of you guys are actually having understanding about Impact Collective as a whole. If Aim, you can go to the program menu, then I would love to just explain them how the program works actually. And there are a few good questions right after the explanations. We will get to that and then have a real AMA session. So the program is basically it's a 6-month process. The first 3 months, which was started already from May, is basically application process, but also we have a fast track investment. So whoever ready to get investment right now today, then we will invest in them, not just waiting till the end of like November or December, which is program ends. So we see this program as a 6-month program, and then after the application finishes on the 20th of August, we might extend a little bit, we might not. It depends on the popularity. But anyway, that's the deadline for now. And we will finalize all the participants who's joining and then let you guys know. And the September, very first week of September, that we will have a welcome call. So which all the partners and experts and our teams that get into the program, everybody comes together, get to know each other. And then the week 2, we will have an Impact Collective Camp, which is 2-day conference. There we will have different sessions, and you can host a session as well if you want. So there's a lot going on a virtual event, and we will use another online platform to facilitate that. And then we will have an office hour, which you can meet all these amazing expert. If you scroll down a little bit, you can see the experts list here, and including all of us, and some from the blockchain industry, data science, mobility, and like impact, and like a product and the marketing and business and everything, like including like ex-VP of Ubers and all these amazing humans joining to help you guys. So we will have an office hour with them, and we are still recruiting more experts for you guys, and that's happening throughout the event. And then number 3 is a cross-border. So if you want to go to another country, if you're in Korea, if I want to go to Vietnam, we have 4 different regional anchor, which is Vietnam and Thailand and Singapore and Korea. It doesn't mean that we only run this program in the 4 different country and city. So each regional partner has a different coverage of APAC. So for example, like AIM has a really great connection to Australia and New Zealand. So although that AIM and DUS, which is our regional partner in Thailand, are covered in Thailand, but they're covering the Oceania as well, and something like that. So then we will actually build a program catered to your needs, so you can actually explore the other market and then meet the right partners and then meet the right people, meet the right user, and then do survey whatsoever you need, and we will help you with that. And then we have a big community activity part. Because this program is 100% virtual, it's so important to build a human connection, and we believe that the change and impact is happening in a small group, not a big group. And as we actually aiming for 100 teams, which will include 200 to 300 people, is a big group. And how can we build a bonding experience and the impact that is starting from the very small connection? So we built this online platform to communicate freely in our community, and 24/7 opens, and you can chat, you can post something, and you can create events, and there is a lot of different things that we can do. You can find the link at our community menu, or I will share the link with you guys later. Please join and support, either become an entrepreneur there or become a community judge to judge other teams, and then and just enjoy the fun. And we have like a different system that we run this program, not just giving you the informative connection, but also home group, which we are mapping 5 to 7 different teams together. And then they are basically the homies throughout the event, so they can actually get to know each other, and check-in session and feedback session, and they can just help each other. And that's how we actually designed this thing. And also team who join this program, they have a different needs in the cross of like impact, business, investment, and we will open a table for you, and you can just request, hey Songyi, hey Impact Collective, we need a little bit more impact strategy session. Then we will find an expert for that, and then creating the session, which we call a skill session. So that's also happening bi-weekly. So there's a lot of different things that you can play with Impact Collective. So that's another thing. Yeah, and there's let's see, 6 reasons you have to join the Impact Collective. And I think Joe and Aim pretty much covered investment and pilot program opportunity and fast track investment. So you don't have to wait till the end of the program. Whenever you're ready, we will invest. And number 3, there is no fee or equity required upfront. If we invest you, then we will, yes, we'll get an equity, but we are not asking you to join this program for any of this. Number 4, community-driven approach. So bring your team and bring your community, bring your user, and let them support you in our platform so you can actually get the influence on our decision and investment decision. So that's basically the design that we are really, really proud of. Actually, in the loop of everyone, not just investor and entrepreneur, but like ecosystem builder, academia, and expert and user is a big part of impact cycle, and they should be in this community as well. And the number 5, inclusive community-based judging. So if you're not an expert, if you're not an investor, you can still come and give your insight as a comments, as an upvoting. So there is a different way to contribute to the community, and then a selection process, please do that. And number 6 is diverse expert community. We already saw just earlier. So that's probably the program cover. And if you go to our community menu, Aim, can you click that quick? And then that page basically shows you what we call community, why community is so important for us. And this Venn diagram or this graphic is just telling you that how we see this Impact Collective community, and put startup at the center, but there's so many different factors, including public sector, customer, and stakeholders, and investors, and foundation, research. All this is actually the startup community, not just startup and investment. Yeah, so there is a big button called Join Us. If you click that, then we will go to our Impact Collective community. Yeah, you can click that. Let's give them a quick brief around platform 2. Click. Yeah, this is an online platform we built with CAN, Community Alliance Network. It's based on the blockchain governance, and there's a lot that you can experiment. It's still on the building stage, but we are welcoming everyone to test and come and chat with us. And our team is there to support you and answering your question, not just only this session, but everything. So that you can find guide and the program introduction, announcement, philosophy, and like all these different things that are happening in Impact Collective, especially during the main program. Everything, all the communication will happen here. So please have a look and let us know what you think. Yeah, okay, that's pretty much it for our explanation. So we can go over to the question. So I think there are some follow-up questions to Joe from anonymous attendee. Which cities do you have a government partnered? It says 4 cities on the website.
In terms of official partners for the Impact Collective program, that is still to be determined because we have sent out kind of an open call to cities for them to be able to reach out to us with specific issues they want to solve. That has been sent to, I believe, almost a little bit over 20 cities. And so we will be getting responses back. But again, our network is quite wide and we have multiple levels of partnerships. I mentioned WeGo, and WeGo has a significant number of city officials in the network. But again, we work with UNDP and also UNSGAP, both of which are UN agencies that work directly with governments in Southeast Asia. I mean, of course, outside as well, but for the purpose of this program, Southeast Asia. And they mostly work at the ministerial level, and so they have many ministers that they want to connect us to, depending on the theme that we're talking about. And so this year, we will, at the culmination of our program in November, right now we're planning an inaugural meeting between different ministers. Of course, it's going to happen online this year, but we will have what we call an ecosystem mapping workshop. And these ministers will come together and discuss different policies on social entrepreneurship, social ventures, and impact businesses, and how we could thematically discuss ways to scale these solutions, as well as support it in a realistic and entrepreneur-led type of manner. And so again, this might, sound a little like we're going a roundabout way, but we believe this, secures their participation more in a more solid manner. And so that's the way we're moving. In terms of, just to answer it directly, we have partners in, I believe, almost all of the governments. It's just a matter of who is going to be directly involved in the implementation of each of our annual programs is a different question, and that has not been determined for 2020.
Thank you. And following question, does the network cover New Zealand? Yeah, probably. Yeah. And then our network definitely covers New Zealand. And Amy and I, we have a very strong rooted in New Zealand, which I am in New Zealand actually at the moment. So we definitely have some connection to New Zealand, and happy to meet Anthony Mata in person as well, if you're around. I hope that's the answer.
Yeah, so we will be looking hard in New Zealand and open to any side conversations, just to see that it's not forgotten off the map of many world globes, and we will put New Zealand where it belongs as one of the leading nations in the world. Now, we've got some other questions that aren't coming from the Q&A, but from the chat, which I find interesting. So, Songyi from Anas in Thailand, can you explain between fast track and program investment options? I think we showed it on the website briefly, and if you'd like to add anything, and how we will decide on that, and the fund mechanics, because we are so leading edge, we had to incorporate blockchain into our project.
So I think Anas was asking, yeah, there is no such a big difference actually. The fast track investment is something that we design it because I know that every company has a different fundraising schedule, and it's not always matching with the accelerators program schedule. So we thought, like, if they need money right now to grow their business and their impact, and why don't we just invest right now, as we don't have to wait till the end of the program. So because it's only possible because we think that investment is not actually the goal, but investment is like a kind of like a going along, come together with the program and your growth and investment together. So that's how we kind of defining these two different things. But fast track investment is basically a little bit like a smaller size, more like 25K to 100K. And then whenever we think that, okay, this company is ready to get invest, and then we will probably invest straight. And then this one won't be so much of community driven, but there will be enough discussion in the team and expert and then judge come together and discuss. And program investment is basically at the end of program, we see like who are the most, how can I say, improved or evolved or promising companies. And between fast track and then program investment altogether, we will probably going to invest in 20 to 25 company out of 100. And the terms are, there's no one terms that is applies to everyone. So we will have a term negotiation with each company because they're all in the different states and different evaluation and different, time of their journey. So that's the differentiation, and as well as investment you expect from participating startup. Yeah, I think.
So I think, yeah, you answered it. So in total, we're going to invest in about 20 to 25 companies per cycle. And this one will end by the end of this year. And hopefully if the project goes really well, we will have many, many more batches to come. And maybe even multiple batches per year. So stay tuned on that. But whether you get investment right away or investment from post-program, it really depends on the level of readiness and your funding needs. And then if there is a strong case for it, then we will pull the trigger faster. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that's a bit of a upside from a typical accelerator program. Many times equity-free programs usually are not fund-backed, so there's really no option to get any capital at the end. So it's kind of sad that many programs try to make cost low, but then ended up a lot of startups don't get the full benefit. So we felt that having a fund that's ready to invest as well as bring other investors to co-invest with us is definitely a unique approach for an equity-free program. Now, I think I'm moving on to Paulina, who's got a very, a question that we were expecting. So how do we balance social impact and profitability? And, are we just going to give advice, or do we actually help them, in terms of making decisions and being able to raise further funding later? And I think that links to the second question. Also, what happens post-funding? Do we as startups have to report any metrics and continue to operate with impact at the heart? Or will, there is a risk that, we've got some funding and now we're done whitewashing, greenwashing, and we're just going to go back to our ways. And we're going to tell a great story, and that would be enough. So let's just take a stab at this, Joe or Songyi.
So I can just do briefly, and then Joe can add up more, definitely more. So I think I can talk about. We are actually impact fund, so we are looking for the company that creating impact, but it doesn't have to be like impact first. Like one of the strategies that we are taking here is internalizing the impact angle to the company who doesn't have any impact measurement yet. And then what Citrapreneur does really well is actually doing deep dive of impact investment with the impact assessment with the team. And then coming up with the idea, like how you can actually utilize this impact angle for growth of your business and impact. And then that I think Joe can add a little bit more. So, but we also not investing in a company that's not making profit. So there is a very thin line of balancing those two, but we believe that our crowd, which is community members, will know what's the right a balance to have. And also our judges are a community judge and expert judge. They are making nomination notes around 4 different things. So first one is actually an impact, and the second one is a team and culture, and the third one is product, and the fourth is business. So team and impact is taken as important as a product and the business itself. So these are the decision-making kind of mechanism that we are using. And then we do have like, basically an SDG is a very genetic measurement that we are using, but we know that also there is a many way to measure impact. So we have like a impact committee to lead by impact manager Shala from Citypreneur, and then we have like other experts been doing this decades, the impact measurements and impact assessment. So we were gonna team up like with 10 experts together and building some sort of like not like really deep impact measurement metrics that we have to build, but like what would be the best way to actually measure our team's metrics and our self as a fund and as a program, then what's our impact as well. And that's gonna happen. And yes, even though that you get the investment, there will be the reporting system. And I hope the impact side, we will probably gonna use the one that we would develop together as an impact committee. And then the one good thing about online community is not that you can go away, because it's continue in online, that we have no excuse not to meet. So we will continue as a community. And even though you don't get investment in this first cohort, and because your data and you are the member of community, and your opportunity to get investment is kind of continue the year 2 and year 3 if you need funding and any help from us. So that's me, Joe.
Yeah, Paulina, thank you so much for such a great question. And this question is definitely something that we want to hash out as a community, answer together. And there's definitely many versions of this, many versions of, you know, our answer even to this question. I don't think there's one belief system that we all adhere to that, you know, needs to be the answer. And I think, you know, we're improving every time. You know, this like Marta said in the chat, you know, this is something that we're all learning how to do. Even the people who are making impact investment decisions are still, you know, in a sharp learning curve in learning how to do this right. And you know, but you know, because we have, you know, come this far in terms of working with impact teams, something that I think I can say with some degree of certainty is that when we're asking the question, you know, how do we, you know, achieve social impact and profitability together? When we make these investment decisions at Citypreneurs, we usually pick teams that have more of a unified model where their impact and their profitability models are aligned and one. And this has been a very important factor for us. And starting this year at Citypreneurs, we've been adding in even scores for how well this has been aligned. And so for me personally, even in judging, usually when I go to different places to judge, I look at how well a given business model has an impact output directly, without having an additional step, without having an additional model where you're having income from one stream and then you're also doing good on a different stream. This puts the CEO in a place where you have to be juggling 2 different types of operations, and you know, you're trying to make these value judgments. Is it more important for me to make money first, or is it more important for me to, you know, give away first, right? And these are not the type of position that you want to place yourself in. The better you do as a company, you need to be making more impact just naturally. And so that's the right model, especially in an investment context, when we are trying to put in money that needs to scale. And if your company is scaling without any additional effort, you need to be producing larger impact. And that makes it much more easier to make it measurable. To go to your second question, and when we set impact measurement, I guess, structures, it takes a lot of creativity. It takes a lot of work between the investor and the startup to set up the right metrics that not only measure the impact, but also you could see it feeding back into the growth of your company. How do we, and so that in itself is a very important process. Unfortunately, that can't be done, with 1 or 2 meetings. That's something that the team has to really take, charge and make sure at the beginning stages of your company, even if it means that you need to pivot to some extent. This is something that we really highly recommend that you have as you have set up as you begin, looking to grow and scale. Making sure that there's a full loop between your business operations and how that feeds into your impact. So hopefully that answers your question. But then I think, I could also easily answer the question before that. There's a question on, are nonprofit enterprises eligible? Unfortunately, if this was a grant giving program, that might have been possible, but for a investment program, nonprofit enterprises will not fit the category. Tell me if I'm wrong, Songyi, but we won't be looking at nonprofit enterprises. And also, Kyungum also asked another question, whether businesses, from what I understand, the question is asking, are we looking for teams that already has a running business versus teams that only have ideas? The teams that usually receive investments need to be a little bit further along than just an idea. And so we do need to see some type of market response, and we do need to see some tractions. And so, I think, at least, the very least, you need to have your product ready in terms of, it's, and be ready to go out to the market. And so I think that's about the right stage, but if you could clarify, if there's anything to be clarified, please help me with that, Songyi and Aim.
Yeah, I think we are investing in a company that we call pre-A series. And so it has to be like an after seed funding round. And we are looking for the team with a user and a product and a market tested. So we basically looking for the team that is, okay, I've been doing really good in my region or in my hands, but I need more help to do the refrogging or really do heavy growth. That's basically the companies that we're looking for. Yeah, that's me. And Aim, do you want to add something more?
Yeah, I think for nonprofit enterprises, we see in Y Combinator many nonprofits that are setting up a for-profit arm that operates as a startup and obviously has an aim and impact to run like a scalable, tech company, but with a heart that is looking to, become self-sustaining, become profitable, become really scalable for the benefit of a beneficiary. So it could be the beneficiary, the shareholders, could be, the nonprofits. In certain jurisdictions, you might be in a country where, there is some model where a nonprofit can set up a B Corp or a separate entity or arm. So I think we'd be keen to look into how you would go about with that, but obviously it cannot run off as just a place to accept corporate or certain types of sponsorship or funding. It actually has to run as a separate entity. So on top of that, and then keep the questions coming in. We love it. Anthony came back with another one on the connections that we are building with local and central governments. How do we avoid startups getting stuck to too big procurement processes? I think, I don't think we have the power to change any government's procurement process. And I think connections and relationships do help. But what we have is a list of experts who are in the development sector, who are in, the ex-consulting, has sent and done projects with government and understand how these tender processes, writing and submitting bids for terms of references, done paperwork, and really been able to get grant money. And those experts will be on hand and hopefully will be matched to a qualifying project to understand more. And I think from a personal experience as a co-founder of an events company who has tried my best to avoid government because I knew it was going to be a pain in the butt. At the end of the day, it's inevitable. The government, especially in COVID-19, is the biggest funder of the recovery. They are one of the biggest customers, and you just have to play the game really well and know who to ask for help from. So I hope that we could get you the right folks. And I think we also have another one from Mario, and this one's just quite interesting because I think it's something I actually thought about, and I think a lot of companies may do too. So if you join the Impact Collective, are you obligated to take money from the ventures? And for many teams, they need the connections, they already have money, and it didn't mention anything. Is there like an equity expectation for the fast track investment or for going through the program? And how closely tied is the acceleration versus the fund? So, Songyi?
Yeah, I think I briefly answered earlier. That's sort of like how I want to think of it, actually. Like we are probably try to decoupling the investment process and acceleration process, but like, just a big merit if you can merge this together and blend this, benefit and being in the program and getting funding. Who says no on that? I think that's the best way to go if you are looking into our program. But still, there is no term, as I mentioned, that is already set. So each company will have a different terms with us, it's not, there's no obligation to take money, it's hard to say. It's like there's no obligation. You have to get funding, but you will definitely get the network and other benefit through the things. And then you will need a funding at some point of your entrepreneur journey, and maybe it's not a cohort 1, but maybe a cohort 2. But like there will be some, like a good relationship that we build, and then happily, like hopefully that you can give us the opportunity to come in as investor. And then I think that's like a very organic way of building this relationship and drawing the picture together. And this is how I think. And I will check with our team once again, and if there is any updates from their side, and I will get back to you, Mario, and other people once again.
Yes, and I just want to add to what Songyi was saying that we have discussed a model where even teams that do not want any type of investments, we could still win awards at the Citipreneurs level. So Citipreneurs hosts would still pick teams regardless of whether, especially when they kind of declined investment, we would still allow for opportunities to win different types of awards. I think that can't hurt you. Also to go back to the question that Anthony was asking, and to add to what Aim was saying, you brought up a very, very important point about working with the public sector, which is generally very, very slow. And I don't think this is something that we could change with just short amount of time. And it might not change forever. But we are working with things that we could count as something that we've seen that works. For example, in Seoul metropolitan government, they have been intentionally working with smaller companies and not the big companies. And so smaller companies, they've set a limit on the size of companies that could actually enter the tender. And this is, on purpose. It's a policy to foster growth among the small and medium enterprises. And I give that example because it takes political will for these type of changes to happen. Of course, it doesn't happen over a year. It doesn't happen, over a term of months. In business time, that's just forever. But, it does need to happen, and somebody needs to be working on raising the voice and collecting voices for these types of changes to take into effect. And that is what the UN is wanting to do through the platform that we're providing. And so please, as you are participating in our network, don't be shy about raising these type of questions, the questions like Anthony's asking. It needs to come from you for us to make it more valid and much more effective. It is, we don't want people who are kind of, in kind of navigating the space and making the connections to say this without anyone really backing it up. And so, I could also give many different examples. I will, for the sake of time, I won't, elaborate through everything, but, we did find ways where the governments can prioritize startups in the name of innovation, and set up policy spaces that are safe, for example, sandboxes that could apply these types of new solutions without having to change their old laws, so that these new solutions could prove that it works and it doesn't have the side effects that everybody else is worrying about. And so, it is a little bit of a, risky territory, even if it's government condoned. But, again, startups are about taking those risks and being the first, to apply technology. So if you're up for that, this is what we could offer.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. And intangible, like scheduling around that, actually, the UN partners and us are trying to roll the ecosystem mapping workshops, and also the dialogue with the city mayors or like a high level people in the government. And there will be, we discussed last week, and how can we put that into the program? And we decided to take it actually bigger than it was planned. I think it's very, very important things that we should have dialogue with the people, and then our network and our community can definitely provide that to the people in UN and the government. And that's our also role to play in the ecosystem. So we will have a separate event designed for that impact dialogue, and run this like a separate aside on the Impact Collective Camp. And also Impact Collective Camp, there is more sessions that we need to design around the governments and the politics, and then also policy, not politics. And we will do that. So just give us idea and fitting us with the your insight. Thank you.
Yeah, so you'll see this incredible, beautiful Polish lady on our team, Marta, who's been dropping us a lot of links on the webinar. So if you have any questions, any requests, Santa Claus wish list, things we should do, we're a new program. We believe in co-creation, and this is for not just for a good cause, but we really want to make this one of the gold standards, setting the bar high for in regional, virtual, and hopefully after COVID's all over, it'll be hybrid. There'll be some offline components, but right now, virtual program, and that means that any comment and feedback will help us do much better. So yeah, dunk memes or drunk memes. Okay, dunk memes. That said, we have a little bit more time. We've allocated an hour and a half, 18 minutes, but we don't have to use all of it. We are still open to a few of the last questions. And maybe while we're waiting for the audience, I will double down as a moderator. Songyi and Joe, what kind of companies should apply, or are you excited to meet? What kind of impact teams, what kind of projects, what would be really exciting?
Joe?
Thoughts?
So as you all know, for us, the reason we started Citypreneurs is because the market wasn't finding effective solutions to get the UN Sustainable Development Goals done. If that makes sense. The UN has set out to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. We have 10 years left, and progress is not really improving. Some of it is going backwards, and we need market solutions that can change the lifestyles of our customers, the way that the way that production systems work, the way that we interact with each other in our communities. There's so much change that needs to be done, but it can't just be nonprofit projects. It can't be done solely out of goodwill. It needs to be done in the market. And so we look for scalable solutions that are, run in form of businesses that have direct contributions to the Sustainable Development Goals. Identifying the contribution is actually not the hard part, just because of the sheer breadth of those goals. If you have time, I suggest you look at the targets and indicators of the Sustainable Development Goals. Take a look. There's 169 targets, and there's about 240 to 250 indicators. And among those, I'm more than confident that you are contributing to some of the SDGs. Of course, we do have to count for the natural impact, negative impact that your company might be producing as you scale your business. This is also something that we need to consider. But at the same time, it's very important for us to be aligned to the SDGs and contributing as you scale to the achievement of the SDGs in that region. And so that's where we hope more capital will flow into. Luckily for us, the global trend has been that more money wants to contribute to impact or sustainability related themes. And this is, TheVentures is actually taking a very bold step to start us off on that. So much appreciation, and thanks to TheVentures for trying this out with us.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, my interest is I think the Corona situation kind of accelerated a lot of thoughts and then process even in my personal life, and also the world that we live in. And I think it's a little bit personal insight, but I think how can we have a life that is insistent for ourselves, and that we can build our own system of living in a small local area. So how can we be more independent from the different energy source, and then also a food security, and then what will be the future of education, and when people cannot go to the school right now, and then what will be the future of work when people don't have to go to the office, and all of that. And there is a huge space that we can explore more with our partner. And then some of you might think that, okay, I'm not a really impact business right now, but when you really look into your mission and the visions, and there is something that is, you just take the impact box at some point, and that's what we want to find out from your business. Your business might be going really, really well, making a lot of money, but what's the point when you are not contributing to the world? But you can find a way and to contribute, and then make it a thing, and build these things together with everyone who is looking forward to build a brighter future for the next generation, and that we would like to help that process. And that's why we built this Impact Collective, not just we only invest in a social startup, a social venture, or impact startup. So just think of that, and then go find your missions, and you will have your heart that is connected to SDGs, and then impact and go. All right.
Yeah, and for me, well, I'm super excited about, I think we have a very limited time left to deal with the climate crisis, and a lot of the themes that we're working on, like energy and food. If you've ever read a book that I always highly recommend to anybody, Big World, Small Planet, just kind of, it's super scientific and geeky, but it's super interesting, where we're basically, the research is about how the world has finite resources and the ability to take a beating, and how much damage we can do. And if we break the world, we can go to a point of no return. And I think a lot of measures, a lot of areas are already at a critical stage. And then, the climate crisis, one of which I think is super interesting is that the biggest contributor to the climate crisis that we can all have an impact on is reducing our consumption of meat, because meat and raising cattle and farming corn and then feed for the animals take up so much of our energy and water, and all sorts of gases that are coming out. And if we could find newer sustainable food source, that would be super exciting, especially for Asia, since food is so important. So how do we make it actually taste good and affordable would be an interesting project. And we're seeing a lot of teams popping up, shrimp, lab-grown fish and chicken and nuggets. The other one I personally feel that has had a lot of impact for me was during COVID-19. I couldn't get to work in my co-working space. I can't run a conference, and everything had to be postponed. People were working from home. But I was one of very few lucky people that, with Wi-Fi and a computer, I could work with Songyi, who's in New Zealand, Joe, who's in Seoul, and all of us are just, affected, but our lives are not completely devastated. And we're actually quite, I would say, privileged. And I feel that those opportunities should be democratized, should be given to many, many more people that are currently suffering because restaurants are closed, malls are closed, and the tourism industry is completely wrecked. In Thailand alone, the economy is projected to maybe drop as much as 10%. 5 to 10 is the estimate. And that's devastating. That is depression level kind of damage to the economy. And from that, it's created so many mental health issues and social problems that are coming out. So on the flip side, I just enrolled to a completely online MBA, executive MBA, during COVID. I was learning all these Coursera and Udacity and Udemy courses I bought and never used or looked at for the past 10 years and had time. And I was picking up new skills in product management and learning Chinese and Duolingo and learning how to code. Building my first website, even though I was a techie. So I felt that while the crisis is massive, the opportunities for the future of education is immense. And I'd be excited to find more solutions that are designed for Asia, because a lot of this is it's very Western centric. It's great, but you have to be able to read English to be able to tap into some of these resources. Kind of sad. So, LOL, yeah, Martha. We have 8 minutes to go, but I think we've kind of answered all our major questions. Any last things we'd like to leave off, Joe and Songyi, before we kind of wrap it up?
Any burning questions?
Okay. So Lee couldn't access the MOEM, so go ahead, Songyi.
Yeah, we'll share the link once again. You can find it also on the Medium channel. You just go to the Medium and the Impact Collective. There is 4 or 5 different articles that our partners wrote about Impact Collective. And then basically I wanted to just say that there is one of the poster is a very first invitation that we're sending out to the core community. And today I just wanted to send out the invitation to all of you guys here. You know, we talked about what make us excited, but I know that you guys know actually more than us, and you have your own passion and excitement that you are carrying, and we would like to see and learn from you guys as well. So please share, please apply for your team, and please be on nominate yourself as a community judge and be the judge and support the team. And please join our Impact Collective Community ICC in Moy. And so just share what you think and be part of this program. And we have like a very fun incentive project built in the program, and you can also learn more about that. And we will verify your contributions and your help, and returning with whatever we can to build this continuous and sustainable. And I think that's my last words, and I'm super excited that we have still 27 people sitting here joining us today, and we will have this AMA session actually 2 more times until the end of the application process. So I will keep you posted, and we're probably gonna do another thing at the same time next Monday, and then a week after. So let us know if there is any more topic that you or specifically want to know more and learn more about, and then we can just do the AMA session around that. If you want to meet some other people from the team, let us know. If you want to talk to any of the experts on our website, let us know, and just be part of it.
Last thing is, on behalf of Impact Collective, thank you. We had 30 attendees. I thought nobody would actually show up, and we were going to be talking to ourselves. So I'm honored that people finding this interesting and useful. And if there's one ask, we are going out on a limb to say we're going to put our networks, our 10 years of experience, our money, our organization on the line to support you. And all we ask is nothing except just help us find really cool, interesting entrepreneurs that are under-supported in their home city, or could be supported even further going abroad. And hopefully we could make the change happen together, and we'll see you all somehow, somewhere down the road as part of the collective community, hanging out and in our various roles. So with that, thank you so much for joining the AMA, and we'll be back soon with more editions, different cast of characters rotating around, and then hopefully we are going to create a very exciting Asia-wide project that we all can be proud of together. So thank you for joining once again. Khop Krab.
Thanks, Aim.
Okay.
All right.
Joe, do you want to say any last words, if there is any?
It was great to share anyway.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, and hope that we answer all your questions. And see you next week, or see you in the program, or see you in the Moy.
Bye.
Bye. Kia ora. 감사합니다.